Caufield tees it up, scores! He's in, he scores! Oh my, Belmanoff!
What was the message that Captain Nick Suzuki sent to his players at the end of that victory against the Quebec Nordiques? I mean, the Colorado Avalanche.
Team dinner in Buffalo. And must win.
So that message, when it comes from your captain, it comes from your leader. When it becomes clear enough what it means to him, what it means to the team, what it means to the organization, the guys took it to heart. They delivered. Mr. Saturday Night delivers and comes in clutch once again. And like he said after their game, you only get one fucking Saturday a week, boys. Let's keep this show on the road going. Welcome to another episode of the CURFEWBOYS podcast. Sunday, February 1st. We're already in the month of February. Hope you all had a great weekend. Hope you all enjoyed that game, that big win against the Buffalo Sabres. If you're tuning in on YouTube, thank you so much. Please help us attain our goal this year, the drive to 5,000 subscribers. It would truly mean a lot to us. We greatly appreciate it if you would share this podcast with your fellow Habs fans, friends, near and far. It is absolutely free to click that subscribe button. Like we said, from the bottom of our hearts, we would truly appreciate it. Our episodes are available on audio platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, any podcast platform. If you could do us another favor and give us a 5-star rating and review, it would be the only way we can feel the love and keep growing this podcast page. Follow the CURFEWBOYS on social media platforms such as Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, also known as X. I am Sammy. He is my cousin Chris with me. Hey now. Sunday, the Lord's Day. We feel his grace in giving us another victory in Habs Nation.
The way you had your hands going, I was just like, I feel like I'm getting a sermon. I feel like I'm at church over here. And then, lo and behold, you go down that path wonderfully.
The Lord bless us a Habs victory from up above. That's the best I could do. I will not be called reverend today. Chris, buddy, I was nervous this game. I was nervous. For some reason, Buffalo Sabres, these past two games, they've had our numbers. You know, if we look at if we go 2 games past, Jacob Fowler felt the rage of Tage Thompson and his shots and all that. Sam Montembeault, unfortunately, a bad first period when the Sabres came to the Bell Center. The boys tried hard. They just couldn't seem to get the job done in the second and third period. I think they remembered that. And I think they went into this game with a slight different approach, but one that felt a little bit similar to the Quebec Nordiques game. A little bit more pressure on their stars. I think having a Caden Gooley to challenge a Tage Thompson, Marty kept the same defensive pairings. Seemed to have worked. And we're going to get into the details of it. But what could we say about Cole Caufield, Mr. Saturday Night, coming in clutch? That's going to be the theme of this episode, at least.
Hey now, Hockey USA. Honest to God. Cole, and we could go back to the episode. We both, you and I, had stated that we had a sentiment that Cole was just going to light it up and turn it on and shift gears. And after he scored that first, I think it was a 2-goal performance or even a 1-goal performance, and he's just turned it on. He's been absolutely outstanding over the past 2 seasons. No single player in the NHL has more goals than Cole Caufield on a Saturday night, but it's it's leveling up seemingly every single game, every single important performance. It's when it counts most, when they need a goal most, Cole Caufield is there. And
Yeah.
genuinely and wholeheartedly, I will give a ton of credit to Martin St. Louis for that. I think we can stand back as a fan base on the whole and say like we were looking forward to having an outstanding goal scorer when we drafted Cole Caulfield, and the hopes were very very high, breaking records amongst the junior ranks or within the junior ranks. He is developed into such a well-rounded player and a
Yeah.
fierce player, and it goes well beyond goals. The awareness on the ice, the compete, you mix that with the human and that just magnetic, overwhelmingly positive attitude. We got something very special here, and again, Saturday nights are just that much better if you're sitting in front of a TV and watching, or at the arena itself watching Cole Caulfield. So that's absolutely fantastic, and what we're getting from him is, I would argue, above expectations, and the expectations are already pretty high, Sam.
You know what I mean? When he's 2 goals behind Connor McDavid, arguably the best player in the world, that says something. When you're third in the league ranked for most goals in the season, that means something. The drive to 40, yes, Nathan MacKinnon reached that, but I mean, he's only 8 goals away from reaching 40. And like we mentioned multiple times, the first time in our actual lifetime studying, watching, analyzing this team, it seems like a no brainer that he's going to reach it.
Well, 40 again. I'm not here. I'm really, really, really not here to tempt fate. But he's at a 58% goal scoring per game, which
Mm-hmm.
if he ends up playing his if he ends up playing his 82 games total, he's at a 48. Like he's on
Yeah.
pace for 48, and like you
Wow.
said, he can slow down just as much as he can stay hot. But if he continues on this streak and stays hot and does this, what did we say the other episode? Will he reach 40? I think it goes, especially with what he's doing, I think it goes beyond, it's beyond the shadow of a doubt that he should reach 40, as long as he stays healthy. But we might rather quickly get into the 50 goal discussion. And if he gets to the point where, Richer enters the conversation and the last 50 goal scorer here for Montreal, that in itself is special. But also, Sam, what you just mentioned, who are the players above in terms of scoring goals? Connor McDavid and Nathan MacKinnon.
Mm-hmm.
No disrespect to Cole Caulfield, but we're talking about arguably two of the top three players in the league. And if
Mm-hmm.
you want to be, maybe if you don't want to step on any other fan base's toes and cause that much of a debate or any frustration, you could say fairly top five players. Those guys, Connor McDavid, I think it goes beyond the shadow of a doubt. Some people might say Nathan MacKinnon, might say Kucherov is better. Some people might say, Sidney Crosby is still up there and deserve it. Some people might even start talking about like a Macklin Celebrini somehow being not somehow,
Oh
but being
yeah,
a top
he's
five
gonna get
player. So,
there. He's gonna get there. Yeah.
so fans, we're not inviting this debate, but feel free to have it in the chat. We'd love to hear your opinion. But nevertheless, Cole Caulfield, with the utmost respect to him and the style of play that is expected of him, he should not be in the same conversation as these two players, and it is a gift. It is a gift that he is. And so savor this moment, fans. Live in the moment. Open up that NHL app and check the stats column, for especially for the goals. Nick Suzuki's also top 10 in points in the league.
Yeah.
And I
That's
understand that
amazing.
Yeah, there's a big difference. You could also say the same thing from Nick Suzuki is not quite at the top. He's not quite close, as close to the top as Cole Caufield is. But nevertheless, man, it's when was the last time? When was the last time, other than the first like couple of days of the season, that we were staring at Habs players leading the statistics columns, um, for various stats in the NHL? That doesn't happen. Maybe Arbor Jacki with penalty minutes, but beyond that, we really haven't had
And
that.
hits.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
hits,
No,
penalty minutes, yeah.
you're absolutely right. Before we carry on, just going to take a quick moment to thank our sponsors. We'll start with my boy Mike's Barbecue Rub from RDP, Canadian company from back home, who has his own special brand of barbecue spices. Can be used for anything: your meats, your fish, your vegetables, your chicken. If it can be thrown on the grill, you got to try Mike's Barbecue Rub. I guess Super Bowl is 1 week away, so grab some of that barbecue spice and give my boy Mike some love. Visit his website, www.mikesbarbecuerub.com, for more information. He used those same spices to season his kettle cooked chips, which would go amazing with your barbecue style food. Give him some love. Mike's Barbecue Rub on Instagram and TikTok. Folks, don't forget to rub your meat, especially after a very, very special victory from the Montreal Canadiens last night. This episode is also brought to you by Les Délices La Frenette, some of the best pastries in the Montreal area. They got great cakes, great cannolis, and we're going to be officially 1 month away from the San Giuseppe holiday, month of March. That's when the Zeppeli season really kicks in. They got 6 locations: Rosemere, Brossard, Saint-Julie, Montreal, West Point Claire, and our hometown of St. Leonard. Visit their website, lesdeliceslafrenette.com. You can follow them on social media, on Instagram. They got practically an Instagram page for every location. They are simply delicious, simplement délicieux. And last but not least, our boy Sunil from the very famous Habs Cave. Seriously, it is a Habs fan's dream to have a man's cave, like the Habs Cave. That's a real tongue twister. Great content regarding Montreal Canadiens memorabilia. His basement is full of them from top to bottom. So give him some love. Follow him on Instagram and TikTok. He was also on the Sick podcast with Tony Marinaro last night after the game. And obviously, Brian Wild was there with Pierre Maguire at a different location. And not to get sidetracked of the game, but they have Tony Marinaro obviously has his own post game show with the Sick podcast, and there was a moment where they were taking in questions from viewers and listeners, and lo and behold, this is what ended up happening. This is totally property of the Sick podcast media with Tony Marinaro. Let's see if we could share this.
Let's go. Alexi Lavoie-Martel has the 10 questions for us. Number 1, the CURFEWBOYS pod. They have a podcast themselves, and let's give them a plug. Why not? They're good guys. I like them. They're good guys. I don't give a plug to everyone, but they're good guys. Really good guys. Not fake good guys. Really good guys. Should they give Montembeault the game versus Winnipeg on Wednesday? Pierre, let's just say
Anyways, we'll get into that. So we threw out a question for them because it's been a bit of a debate or a discussion amongst us. By the way, thank you, Tony Marinaro and the crew at the Sig Podcast Media for throwing our name out there, giving us a chance to show our question, and they delivered an answer, and it's something like we will definitely discuss in our own episode. Go, Chris.
Well, I'm going to say 2 things because I think especially immediately after the clip, it's only fair to say it right after. Two separate things. Number 1, thank you very, very much for, like you said, for showcasing that, for even taking the time to mention what he said about us being really, really nice guys. I don't even think we consider one another really, really, really nice guys. So like he said, we'll take it. We'll try to do our best to accept to accept the compliment. That's very kind of him.
Yeah,
But
totally.
I'm going to tell you guys a story about Tony Marinaro. So back in the day, I was working as a farmer rep, and I was visiting one particular pharmacy in LaSalle, and Tony I think born and raised in LaSalle, has various sponsorships, and one of the sponsorships that he has is a free advertisement for them because I love going. I love going to their place, but Pâtisserie LaSalle. You'll hear the Sick
Mhm.
podcast talking about them. They're fantastic. I've a number of times went to go get the proper Italian, like the tomato pizzas, the focaccias, and all of
Mhm.
that. I actually go there myself. Great bunch of people, but connected to Pâtisserie LaSalle. There's I think it's Proxim now. It switched between Proxim and Family Prix, if I'm not mistaken. Like I said,
Mhm.
this dating back. Just again, little anecdote. I'm in the store. I'm doing my work as a representative. I'm in my early 20s. Podcast wasn't even a speckle in our eyes, if you will. It wasn't even on the horizon. But all this to say is just a young kid. Now, as a representative on the road, I lived and breathed TSN 690, listening to Habs talk, and Tony Marinaro was the voice who pretty
Mhm.
much filled up our mornings, or at least my
Yeah.
mornings.
Yeah.
And such an entertainer, such a great character. But
Mhm.
in person, I'm in the pharmacy doing my work, and I hear a voice, and I go, "My God, I know that. I know that voice. I
Yeah.
absolutely know that voice." So I turn and I look, and sure enough, it's Tony Marinaro coming to coming to again just be friendly with the pharmacy owner, who
Yeah.
was she's just another super sweet lady. I said, "Mr. Marinaro, like, just pleasure meeting you. Thank you so much. Love listening to your content." And he goes, "Well, what about you? What's your name? Tell me."
Mhm.
I'm there like kind of a little starstruck because I do have a high, like, as far as radio broadcast Montreal Canadiens related. He's right up there for me.
Yeah.
Right up there. But like took the time, asked who, like, what's your name? What do you tell me a little bit about what you do? Just such a human. He's the good guy. He
Yeah.
truly is.
He's not fake. He's not
He's
fake.
not fake. And for that, like, it means a lot. It means a hell of a lot. I'd even argue that if you go back and you watch some of the earlier episodes of the first episodes, I think we could even say, like, we wanted to replicate, we wanted to bring some of that Tony Marinaro energy
Yeah, of
into
course.
our very own podcast. So Tony, like,
Mhm.
thank you, number one, for the mention. It means the world to us. We looked up to you, where you're clearly an inspiration as to what we're doing and what we do and what we're doing. And just it's an
Oh,
amazing
1,000
thing.
percent. Well, I met him for the first time. It was last season when the Laval Rocket had a playoff game, and he had announced that he would be there at Place Belle to meet fans and all that. He was doing a French, I guess, un reportage, like a quick brief reporting. I want to say it was for TVA Sport back at that time. I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure it was. I know it was in LDS, but anyways, but he was there. I was at Gato Mato eating. Great, they got great food. More free
And more
publicity, I
free
guess.
advertisement.
Yeah, exactly. And I see him. I see him outside, like through the window. I was close by the window. Anyways, all that to say is, went up to him, pretty much introduced myself, told him I'm part of a podcast called the CURFEWBOYS podcast, and right away it was like, "Oh, I've heard of you guys. It's like it's great meeting you, and you guys have great stuff. Thank you so much." And again, truly appreciate it. And and we had an understanding and agreement that like we said, there's other pages out there. Everybody, it's their own prerogative to do the type of content, and him and I had like an agreement and understanding that you want to be genuine, but you don't want to you don't want to throw out I guess ridiculous content or ridiculous news that can be far fetched. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not saying other pages do this and all that, but like you don't want to be the content creator or the YouTube page that's like, oh, would you trade Michael Hage and Zorowski for a Connor McDavid or a Connor Bedard? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a bit absurd. Like, and I don't know if other pages do that, but like my point in all this is that you want to be creative, but you want to be realistic. I think that's the word I'm really trying to look for, and that's what we try to do as fans of this podcast, which is what we are. It's a Montreal Canadiens fans podcast. So having that conversation with him, I also told him you're also not afraid to go against narratives. Like you're not afraid to actually genuinely express what you're thinking about any Montreal Canadiens topic or debate, and you're not afraid to go against what the majority of people want to hear or they want to hear you say. And that's, I think, the most thing I appreciate from Tony Marinaro, and that's something that we try to bring into this podcast too. And so for now, it's just you and I, Chris. But when Anthony comes on, when Zoo comes on, Joey, Adri, we have debates, and it's also, we also try to demonstrate that you could have conversations and debates with, and though you disagree with each other, it could be there's no fights, there's no nothing. You see in social media fights within members of their own fan base, like, oh, if you disagree with someone, well, they're going to criticize you as a person, and we are not for that. We don't do that. We bust each other's chops, and that's it, that's all. So to just to make a long story short, yeah, absolutely, a big thank you to Tony Marinaro, and he's a big reason why we do this, and it helps when you see a paisano from the Montreal area having success. It drives you to keep doing this. So absolutely, just to wrap it up, a big thank you to Tony Marinaro and the Sick Podcast crew. So yeah.
How do you beat calling like the Boston Zoo and say there's an escaped
That's so funny.
giraffe? Like
Oh my God,
there
so
were
funny.
certain things. I go back to that and say, like, when he was a staple of the morning entertainment on the road. My
Yeah, no,
God,
he was very
had
creative.
some
He wasn't afraid
comedic
to
gold.
go outside of the box, outside the norm. So, anyways, we're gonna get into the game now, because there's some key elements that we all noticed watching that game. Um, there's a lot more stability in the lineup, I find now, and we praise Cole Caufield as always. We're definitely going to praise Jakub Dobes, but there's a player that deserves a lot of credit. And when the announcement was made that Alexandre Texier was going to be out of the lineup due to an injury, I completely forget if it's lower body or upper body, you knew right away that Kirby Dach was going to be the one slotted in the top lineup with Caufield and Suzuki. And I thought he played a very significant role in using that big body and winning puck battles, driving the net a couple of times. Let's be honest here. A good reason why Cole Caufield got that second goal and the go-ahead goal is because of that Kirby Dach play in the corners, winning the puck battle along the boards, finding Nick Suzuki, who just has that cerebral impulse of sending it to the net because he knows Cole Caufield's going to be there. I got to give Kirby Dach credit on that goal, 1,000%. It's good on Nick Suzuki for analyzing the play and knowing where to be once Dach won that puck battle. Good on Cole Caufield for having that instinct of driving the net like a natural goal scorer does. But Kirby Dach deserves all the credit in the world, Chris, for that play, 1,000%.
Yeah, no, I'm happy you said it, because that play does not happen. And end of story. Does not happen without Kirby Dach going to fetch that puck and dig it out and send it over to Suzuki to get things started. And we said it when we were asking the question, where may Dach slot into the lineup, and we did say we'd love to see him on this top line. Now, after a performance like that, obviously he's got a few games under his belt. He's coming back from a long absence. There's going to be some rust that he has to shake off. He's had moments, he's had flashes that were very good, but I think that was the most well-rounded performance and positive or good performance that he put out since coming back from injury. Now, with that said, one big part of the discussion that we had is Slav going down to the second line he was able to still exploit that physical aspect of puck battles. But another big part of that was he could carry the puck and bring it into the zone, and he was able to develop another layer of his game by getting away from the Caufield and Suzuki line. Now, what I have to say in relation to Kirby Dach is being that big body, he can somewhat fill that void of playing maybe a slightly more physical. When I say a slightly more physical brand of hockey, I'm talking about those puck battles. I'm not talking about a checking game. I'm not talking
No,
about dropping
exactly.
gloves,
Yeah.
even though he's done both, strangely enough, since he's got back. But all that to say is that might be just what the doctor ordered. One, just what the doctor ordered for the first line. Number two, as he's had that success in the past. And number three, he might even be able to kind of develop somewhat of a hybrid role of what we saw Slav do earlier on in the season and last season in playing that physical presence. But do not forget, he also has that capacity to carry the puck. He's shielding the puck. I will say this: he's shielding the puck very, very, very well. He's
Yeah.
keeping guys on the outside. He's slowing down the play when it needs to be slowed down. I I really like what I'm seeing. I really, really, really like what I'm seeing. I want him to stay healthy. I want him to continue having this opportunity. It's not a knock on Texier. The dream at the end of the day would be that we actually keep Kirby Dach. I don't want to see players going. I do think that
Mhm.
he's a great character, and I'm really going to use that word, character, personality within the locker room. Like I think he's just one of those individuals who's appreciated. Like he seems to be a cool guy, like a guy that just people gravitate towards him, and all that to say is for that reason, you might have a little bit of a missing piece. You might have a little emotional dip if a guy like that goes. So at the end of the day, I'd like to see Kirby Dach stay with the team, and I do think that there is a place for him on that line. Just keep it up, Kirby. We're rooting for you, and this might be exactly what we're looking for.
Oh, it's a contract year for him too, though. So he knows, and I think that's why recently you're seeing him play with a bit more. I don't know if urgency is the right word, but he's doing all the little things right for now. And again, he like now that he's back, as the games keep going, he keeps progressing, and he has no choice. Like he's got to show that he could still be a part of this, right? And it started what to me personally, I think the game against Vegas, he was on the fourth line. I'm pretty sure he was on the fourth line against Vegas. Him, Evans, and Bolzerk, they actually looked pretty good. And then a game against Colorado, same thing. Got rewarded with 2 points, a goal and an assist. However you want to say fluky or not, hey man, sometimes you do the right things, you get puck luck on your side, which is what happened. And then yesterday, hey, another challenge, go on the top line in on an important game like this one against a division rival to get out of the wild card spot and just reclaim the third spot in the Atlantic Division. He delivered. He delivered, and it's important for him to do that. It's important for him to have that confidence. You know what I mean? There's 2 games left. Then there's a big break. Somebody like him, you know what? Yeah, he's coming back. He has a bit of momentum, but still, I think anybody could use that break, especially him. He's got to keep it up. If he could, first of all, we'll see what's going on with Texier come Monday against Minnesota. But I think, you know what I mean? I get the feeling Marty is not going to change this lineup. Not one bit. And if Texier comes back, well, what do you do? Do you put him on the fourth line with Bolzerk and Evans? I thought Veleno had a very good game as a fourth
Yeah,
liner.
yeah,
I thought he
yeah.
did his
Great.
job. He kept the puck out of his zone. He kept the puck in the offensive zone, putting it in the corners, sometimes holding the puck on along the boards. Him too. You want a couple of battles, board battles here and there. Very, 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 very simple game. I thought he delivered too. So, listen, once again we repeat. It's really the depth of this team is starting to show its quality. And Marty's got very, very, very good problems on his hands right now. He really does, and so it's great to see.
Yeah, I love your comment that Joe Veleno had a great game yesterday, and again, Joe Veleno is Joe Veleno. The expectations are that he's there in support, but like yesterday, especially during the end of the second period, beginning of the third period, I literally the thought was going through my mind like this guy is bad. Like, he wants to be here. He wants to be
Of
a
course.
part of this. He wants to stay as long as he possibly can. We ourselves have mentioned, he's likely going to be a guy who has to be sent down or something of the likes. And not that we want to see that. I'm just saying logically and objectively saying that he's likely one of the guys who's going to be let go when Newhook comes back and Liney comes back and everybody's off the IR. And
Yeah.
in that yesterday, it crossed my mind that like I I feel it. I feel it from this side of the screen that you are giving it everything you got to stay here as long as possible and earn your spot long term. So
Oh,
like
and he
great
knows
game.
it.
Yeah, go ahead.
He knows it. He knows it 1,000%, Chris. You're so right. When you Hook and Liney come back, I mean, in theory, who knows if trades are going to be made, so on and so forth. But he knows it. He knows it. A guy like Sammy Bled knows it. Like right now, who knows when he's going to be back in the lineup? It's hard
I'm
to tell.
I'm I'm pissed off at I'm actually pissed off at Jeff Gorton and Kent Hughes. You want to know why? They let me fall in love. They let me fall in love with these players. You gain that, and the same thing goes for Sammy Blais. I don't know if this is going to make it back to Sammy Blais or anybody in his entourage, but I'll tell you this much: I really like Sammy Blais. I
Yeah,
really like Joe Veleno because the expectations are properly set and they deliver. They over deliver. Even they are great role players, and shame on you, Jeff Gorton and Kent Hughes, because the prospect and this notion of having to say goodbye to these guys, some people might be like shaking their heads and like blocking their ears with me saying this, but I genuinely think that they've been a wonderful addition. They've brought a veteran presence for a lot of young kids. They've done nothing but good. They've been nothing but great teammates. You haven't heard any rumblings of them being frustrated of being out of the lineup. You haven't heard a single thing. Great Montreal natives or Quebec born players. And you know what? Regardless of what happens to them, a preemptive thank you for everything you've done, and let's have you guys continue
we'll
as
see.
long as possible here with the
Yeah,
Canadians.
no, totally. We'll see what happens. Still, so much can happen. Um, but I think I think there's a trade freeze as of February 4th. So we're already February 1st. So I'm curious to know if teams are gonna start pulling triggers. I get the feeling not many will, but during the Olympic break, a lot of GMs will start conducting and constructing whatever trades they think they can pull off to make their teams better. So once the Olympic break is over, and then we'll see if New Hook is good to go. We'll see if Patrick Line is good to go. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see. Another shout out to Juraj Slafkovsky, career high in goals, 21 goals. I wasn't a big fan of his game last night. I thought a couple of times he was easily pushed around. He got hit a few times too. As the game went on, he did get better. He was a little bit more physical, a little bit strong on his feet. But I'm happy he got that goal on the power play on the bumper spot, which is exactly where he belongs. 21 goals, career high. Hey man, I'm I'm not against the thought or the idea that he might reach 25 or who knows, maybe even close to 30 for you know what I mean? I'm not against that possibility. And good on Slav, man. Like you know what? At the end of the day, Slav said he needs to deliver it as of October and he needs to be better before the month of December, before the month of January. Man, he delivered. This kid delivered on his promise. He's not all talk, man. He walks the walk too, and he did this year.
I'd go a step further, Sam, in saying that he, out of the gate, maybe not every single game, but the grand majority of the games that he played, he was playing in similar fashion to the end of his last season.
Yeah,
So he
exactly.
delivered on that promise. But man, did he ever, he stepped it up and he continues to step it up and he's getting better and better and better and more impactful. And again, last night, I think that's a fair analogy to say, was it his best game? No, even though the guy scored a great top shelf one-time snipe. Um, you can't expect it. You can't expect it every single game. They're human beings, and again, very young still
Yeah.
at that. But Slavkovsky, amen to your point, delivered on his promise, but nevertheless, over delivering on his
Mhm.
province. Voyons donc, Alice. He's over delivering on his promise.
Yeah, and it's just going to show that the patience that we need as a fan base to give him or give him that time and be patient with him, it's paying off. But it just goes to show that the reasons why they drafted him is long term. It's long term performance, a long term delivery. He's a long term project. Kid's only 21. Like, you know what I mean? When he gets in peak physical shape, again, we keep repeating this. What's he going to look like? We're already freaking out at Ivan Demidov's skill level. What's he going to look like when he's 21, 22, 23, and so on and so forth? You know what I mean?
That walk. Who did he walk around yesterday?
He walked around
Utterly No,
everybody,
there
and
was one that we were just like, he's
in
gonna
the
score.
first
He
period,
just and like literally a duck on water, just like
smooth,
so
smooth.
smooth, and you're just like, I would break my fucking ankles in 6 places if I
If you
tried
try
to do
doing
that.
that,
Sorry to interrupt, but when you're saying like what wows you, like I look at Ivan Demidov and he's making full-time multi-season NHL players look
hmm
completely out of place with just his movement, and you're like,
and
how?
there's more
I,
yet to come. That's the best part.
it's
There's more yet
insane.
to come. Oliver Kapanen finally gets a goal, a great empty net goal. The one thing that I have to say I'm proud of is this team is that they not just had adversity against the Sabres, but I felt like the refs really didn't throw them a bone, especially that Kirby Doc penalty, that so-called holding or hooking that wasn't at all a penalty. And 2 plays before that, I think Lane Hudson gets hit from behind along the boards. There was an interference play on Suzuki before
Mhm.
that from somebody from the point. So I don't know. I really felt the Canadians through adversity, and I don't want to be that guy that blames the refs for everything. But look, let's be honest here. The only reasons why Buffalo scored is through a delayed penalty and the power play. Otherwise, 5-on-5, the Canadians contained them. When Buffalo pulled the goalie, they contained them as well. Mike Masson was a beast on defense. There was just one bad play he made that led to a goal, that led to the delayed penalty, that led to a goal. But you know what? That at the end of the day, he made up for it. Was a beast. Played like 27 minutes. So no, good on the Canadians for sticking together, not panicking. Um, they played it like a unit. They played as a unit. They played as one last night. And I'm gonna say this though, having said all that, it's thank God in a sense there's no back-to-back games, so you could afford giving a defenseman like Matson 25 minutes, 27 minutes, but on back-to-back nights, like you can't. Pierre Maguire actually said this. Like, you got to be careful on how many minutes you give to your guys. Like Brendan Gallagher only played like 10 minutes, Bud Zirk only 10 minutes, Doc only 12 minutes, Anderson too. You know what I mean?
Jack
It's
I 7.
Jack I 7, and mind you, a lot of penalties and all that. Like, and I could understand. I think that was more circumstantial than anything. But again, too though, like on back-to-back nights, like you gotta make, and I'm sure Marty and the coaching staff know this, but like you gotta be careful on how you distribute these ice times towards your players.
I completely agree, and I'm tired of agreeing because I feel like every single time you finish talking, I'm like, I agree, but I'm gonna yet again agree and say you have to manage these minutes. You have to be smart about it, but this much too. I really, really, really want the Canadians to start thinking about developing Arbor Jacki as a PK specialist
Yeah,
because
I'm surprised. That's true.
that is something that might take away from Mike Matheson. Like, look at the minutes that he played yesterday, and let's say 8 minutes, and usually he plays about half of the PK, so an extra 4 minutes that you can help alleviate. Even if you
Mhm.
don't completely take him off, there are ways to alleviate that. And same goes for. I'm not saying that he's been playing many, if at all, PK minutes, but Noah Dobson, and like these guys are doing well. We can also
Yeah,
take
they
a
are.
step back and say they're winning games. They're doing what they got to do to get it done. Aren't we talking whether it be for the goalies? We want the W. Like that. That has been the essential focus of what we're tapping into. But when you're talking about the long term health and endurance of the team, so that you not only get to the playoffs, but then you can thrive thereafter, I
Mhm.
definitely do think that there's an opportunity. Like you look at Jack and you look at penalty killing and you look at his capacity for shot blocking and getting guys out of the front of the net. I really hope that that's something that, again, don't put everything on pause just to develop a defenseman mid-season. But I hope that is a project. I hope that is something that's brought to the table because you can alleviate so many guys just having somebody else who can step in. And again, whether you like it or not, you're reducing the likelihood of an injury. You're reducing the likelihood of a well, yeah, it's I was just about to say a break or something like that. You're having better net battles with him protecting it,
Yeah.
and like I said, it's not something that's developed overnight. So don't try to start this mid-season when you're in the process of winning. But that is going to be important that they have somebody else or develop Jack to be able to step in and handle those minutes because it's usually your third pairing guys who are going to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to see Lane Hudson fucking blocking shots on the PK. Let me be
No, no,
perfectly
no.
clear on that.
Well, it's no, that's never gonna happen. Speaking of Lane Hudson, though, him and Noah Dobson again. I'm loving these two together. That Caufield goal, the first one, the way Hudson and Dobson crossed and dropped plays to each other. It's a simple play, but it's a thing of beauty. And Caulfield too, like most of his goals is he's taking it, he's wristing, sniping. But man, I said this. We watched the game together. When you keep your stick down on the ice, good things happen. So no, but 1,000%, I agree with you with the defenseman minutes and all that. And we'll see. We'll see what happens with Arbor Jacka as the season goes, and hopefully, when if the Canadians can clinch a spot earlier than expecting or hoping, or at least earlier than what they did last season, maybe you'll see games where they'll give Jacka a bit more minutes and all that because it's just to see where he can go before playoff time and all that. I get what you're saying, 1,000%. Jakub Dobes, we got to end the episode on him.
Yeah.
Look, man, I don't know if it's a coincidence. I don't think it's a coincidence, but it's 2 games he's playing since Marco Marciano has joined the team officially. I'm giving Dolbesh full credit, but he looks completely different. He does not look like the same goalie at all. Like these last 2 games, he's been calm and poised in the pocket, in his crease. You know what I mean? I don't think it's a coincidence. I refuse to believe it's a coincidence. I do think Marco Marciano, for at least these past 2 games, made him remember how to position himself properly. I'm believing that. If people don't believe that, that's okay. That's fine too. I don't think it's a coincidence that it's 2 games that he plays where Marciano is here and look, or is it 3? Was trying to remember because there's the game with Vegas, there's the game against Colorado, and then there's this one. So whether it's 2-3 games, anyways, all that to say is that dude, like Dobes is a completely different goalie now. He's confident. He's calm. He's poised. Look, man, we asked the question on the Sick podcast. Do they give Montembeault the game Wednesday against Winnipeg? Not having a good year. They're a bit of a lesser team this season. Do you give Monty one more game before the Olympic break? Their answer was, and Pierre Maguire said this, keep riding the hot goalie. If Dobes wins Monday night against Minnesota, you keep riding the hot goalie, and I tend to agree with that. We initially predicted that Dobes was going to get all these starts. I actually predicted that whatever the results were Saturday night against Buffalo, I still believe that Dobes is going to get the start Monday night against Minnesota because he beat Minnesota last week. Am I going to have to carry on to Wednesday's game? Despite the results Monday night, do you give Dobes the start Wednesday night? You know what I mean? The more Dobes keeps playing like this, the more reasons Marty has to start him more than Montembeault. I'm sorry.
How many times have we had conversations about mental health as a professional athlete and having, being aligned, being dialed in? Now, number one, I'd say a big thank you to Jakub Dobes because, because of him, why don't we just crack out a crystal ball and play foreseer of hockey realities? Honestly, he's making us look good with the delivery. But jokes aside, like he's a great young kid. He's got a bright future ahead of him. I'd love to see him stay here in Montreal for as long as possible. But moreover, is that this is the first time, I believe, don't quote me, this is Chris eye test stats. I think this is the first time the whole season that he had 3 back-to-back starts.
Oh, you
And
might be right.
w-
Yeah, you might be
when
right.
when I the big one that frustrated me a lot when Dobish was winning, I think it was the trip out west. They originally went to go play Calgary, and then they
Mhm.
played Edmonton, where Monty gave up the lead and lost them the game. I'm sorry to say, I'm not. That's mean of me to say, but they ended up losing the game with Monty and nets, and Monty kind of looked a little shell shocked in the last minutes. I think they gave up 3 goals within the last 6-7 minutes of that game, and Dobish was playing well, and then they ended up shortly thereafter. They went back to Monty. And that's the type of shit, part of me, like, this might be a little bit of a longer response, but Jakub Dobes, I feel as though there were a couple of times this season where he started to get on a roll. He
Mhm.
started to do well. Think of the same thing last season. Comes in 5-0-0 start to
Yeah.
his NHL career. Suddenly, no, he's not playing. No, we're gonna sit him down. We're gonna sit him down. I genuinely and wholeheartedly feel as though not Monty, Jakub Dobes needs to be playing in order for him to gain that momentum, to have
Mhm.
that confidence. B, you're talking about Marco Marciano, who already has experience with Jakub Dobes, while he seems to be even further helping him
Yep.
make sure that he's prepped, he's doing the right things. A lot of people keep saying he's not swimming in his net, hence he's not playing too aggressive. He's not lost out there and like floating around in front of the crease. He's where he has to be. So whether or not it be a pointer or 2 or 5 or 10, whatever Marco's doing, obviously Jakub Dobes is feeling pretty good. Jakub Dobes outright came out and said word for word, he's making me feel pretty good. He's making like like
Yeah.
he's making me happy, he's making me feel good and all of that. But all this to conclude and come back to the point of, I think this is the first real, whether it be a coaching change and the coach's recommendation that's having the final say on this, and maybe Marco is also protecting Monty in a certain sense by saying, hey, don't throw him to the wolves. Jakub's doing well. So, hey, let's continue on this. But Monty, I want to work with him a little bit more before we throw him back, and he only risks looking worse. But at the end of the day, whether it be opportunistic or whether it be merited, they're whoever you are, you know who you are, whatever you feel, and you agree with. But whatever the reason, at the end of the day, I think this is the first legitimate opportunity for Jakub Dobes to showcase himself as arguably, and for me it's without a doubt, that he is the starting number one goaltender for the Montreal Canadiens, at least at this very moment. Can they split the task 50-50? I think so. I do think so. Do I think it's a good idea right now? Absolutely not. I think, again, you stick with Dobes for as long as possible, but I'm excited for Jakub Dobes. Not only is he playing well, his record is outstanding, but I am reiterating for the third time now, he's really got a nice opportunity ahead of him. And I think he can really do something special right about now. So I'm hoping if he's going to go into Minnesota, beat the number 2 team in the league, give him the Jets. Give them the Jets and take all that pressure off of Monty. Take all that pressure off Monty. Let Monty work for 3.5 weeks, 4 weeks on, getting himself back because, look, was better than one good goaltender or one hot goaltender. It's 2. So, whatever it takes, do it. We want those wins. And Jakub Dobes, seriously, bravo. Like,
unreal.
Wonderful work.
To like this game against Vegas was very good. Colorado was great. Even yesterday too, he made some key saves. And when Kapanen scored the empty netter, he went out of his crease and went into the corner and give the whole Maximus, are you not entertained, like pose or something like that. So 1,000%, Chris, I totally agree with you. And I'm curious to see. I think what a lot of the players are going to do, because they're 2.5 or 3 weeks off, something like that. I think the first week, get away from everything hockey related. Go down south, go to the beach, go to your favorite place where you could get zenned in, and then after that,
Good luck calling
come
that
back.
Lane Hudson.
Well, I think so. I think him. They all deserve it. But I'm expecting to see a lot of like Lane Hudson and Demidov at the rink and putting in the reps and all that, putting in the work. I'm curious to see if Marco Marciano during the break, if he's going to go back to Laval and goalie coach and follow the Laval Rocket. I don't know how it works exactly, if he's officially hired from the Canadiens, if he's allowed to do that. Just curious to see. It's a big question mark I have. It would make sense to me. And like if the Canadiens aren't allowed to practice with coaching staff members during the break, I don't know if it's in the CBA or not. Something that I'd have to research. Maybe it would make sense to send Marco Marciano to Jacob Fowler, who won his 2 games back to back, by the way, this weekend. So everything is slowly playing itself out and coming to fruition. So it's exciting. I totally agree with Chet. I'm excited for Jakub Dobes. I'm excited to see what he can do tomorrow night, Monday night against the Wild. It's going to be very interesting to see. 1,000%. And that's it. I'm hoping for a post. I'm hoping we're back for a post-game show Monday night against Minnesota. I think that's going to be another important game. The Canadiens, they finished the month of January with a 10-5-1 record. You know what I mean? Like, I think on the overall, we got to give this team major props for staying with it in a very, very, very condensed schedule. A very condensed schedule, man. Like, they're going to deserve that 2.5 week break, that practically 3 week break. And you know what? For the month of, I'm looking at the month of March, it doesn't seem as jam packed, but they're gonna have at least there's gonna be 3 stretches of back to back games. So when they go out in California, there's gonna be that. There's gonna be a home and away game, Toronto and Ottawa, and then back to back home games against San Jose and the Ducks on a Saturday, Sunday. After that, it's just one game every second night or so. So listen, the work is not over, the battle ain't over, but I think they got to be feeling good about themselves now that they got through 2 months of condensed scheduling. Like, you got to feel good about yourselves, man. And if they could grab these next 4 points before the break, that's 2 big leads that they could grab over the Sabres and the Bruins. And by the way, I definitely got to check out the Bruins versus Tampa Bay game. They're playing outdoors. That's a big game, and I think I know how Habs fans feel about the Tampa Bay Lightning. If they could do us a favor and beat the Bruins today in regulation, they'd be helping us out.
Yeah,
that's
feel
my.
free to
that's
go
my
at it. Feel free to, little
Drop the
fisticuffs
gloves outside. Yeah, it's no problem.
Yeah,
Go for it.
yeah.
Don't worry about a thing.
Let's get it out of your system,
Awesome.
boys. Both teams, you deserve
Yeah,
it. You
exactly.
deserve it. Just let off some
You
steam.
do.
So,
Well,
give us a show.
1000%.
Give us a show.
Entertain us. That's all we want. Awesome, buddy. Well, we're gonna wrap it up. So once again, the Canadiens beat the Buffalo Sabres 4-2 to reclaim that 3rd spot in the Atlantic Division. Next game Monday night, 7:30 Eastern start against the Minnesota Wild, and we look forward to see what the official lineup will be. Not expecting any changes whatsoever, but we're going to wait and see what's going on with Alexandre Texier. Big thank you to all who tuned in this new episode. If you're watching on YouTube, once again, help us reach our goal to 5,000 subscribers. Please click it, like it, subscribe. It is absolutely free, but share this with your Montreal Canadiens fans and friends near and far. We would truly appreciate it. You could listen to us on audio platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, any podcast platform. Another tongue twister. Please give us a 5-star rating and review. It's the only way we can feel the love and make us better. Follow the Curfew Boys on social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, also known as X. And we want to thank our sponsors, Mike's Barbecue Rub, Les Délices Lafrenière, and Habs Cave. And last but not least, let's thank Tony Marinaro and boys at the SIG Podcast, or the folks at the SIG Podcast, for giving us a brief and quick shout out. Chris, enjoy your Sunday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Monday night, we will be back for another post-game show. Minnesota, here we come. We're coming for you. I want to see Demidov show Kaprizov that he's coming for him. He's coming for him.
Oh, yeah.
Chris, thanks a lot. Everybody, you guys take care. Happy Sunday. We'll see you all on the next post-game show. Until then,
bye now.
Good